My sister's wedding was perfect until her lips turned blue at the altar. The day started like a dream. White roses bloomed along the church aisle. Violins played Canon in D, and everyone whispered about how stunning Grace looked in her gown. My older sister, the girl who had waited her whole life for this moment, was finally marrying Daniel Williams, the city's most eligible bachelor. And I, Olivia, her maid of honor, stood behind her holding her veil like everything was normal. But I knew something was wrong. Grace had been acting strange. She kept touching her stomach like it hurt. Her lips were pale under her red lipstick. And she kept turning to me whispering, "Promise me you'll look after Mom if anything happens." I thought it was nerves. I thought maybe she was overwhelmed. But then, during the vows, just as Daniel slid the ring on her finger, she gasped, sharp and desperate, and collapsed in his arms. A scream tore through the church. Her bouquet hit the marble floor with a snap. And just like that, Grace was gone. The autopsy said it was poison. Traces of a rare, undetectable neurotoxin, something not even a trained medical team could reverse fast enough. Police questioned everyone. They ruled it an accident. But I knew better. Because the night before the wedding, Grace told me one thing I'll never forget. If anything happens to me, Olivia, it wasn't an accident. My sister didn't just marry a man. She married into a lie, one that got her killed. The funeral was silent. No choirs, no heartfelt eulogies. Just rain pounding the roof like it too knew Grace didn't deserve to go out like this. Daniel sat in the front row. Black suit, sunglasses, a perfectly folded handkerchief he never used. I stared at him the entire time. Not once did he cry. After the service, I cornered him outside. "What did you two talk about the night before the wedding?" He blinked. "Excuse me?" Grace was anxious. She said something might happen. Daniel's jaw tightened. She was emotional, Olivia. Brides get that way. He turned to leave, but I stepped in front of him. She said if anything happened, it wouldn't be an accident. His lips parted, but no words came out. Instead, he walked away. That night, I went through Grace's belongings. I found her phone locked. But I also found something strange, a red bottle of perfume I'd never seen before. Unlabeled, elegant, half empty. And the scent? Sharp, bitter, almost metallic. I slipped it into my bag. Then I checked her diary. One entry stood out, written 2 nights before her wedding. I saw her again today. She was standing across the street watching me. Red dress, heels, sunglasses. She smiled like she knew something. I thought I was being paranoid, but now I know she's back. The past never really stays buried. Who was she? The woman in red. The next morning, I paid a visit to Faith Martin Grace's best friend and one of her bridesmaids. We sat in a cafe, steam rising from untouched coffee. "Did Grace seem okay to you?" I asked. Faith hesitated, twirled her spoon. She seemed afraid. Of what? She leaned closer. Not what, who? She got a message 2 days before the wedding. I didn't see who sent it, but she looked pale afterward. What did it say? Something like, "You're marrying a murderer, and now you're next." Some love stories don't end. They haunt. I couldn't shake the name from Faith's lips. "You're marrying a murderer." Who? Daniel? It didn't make sense until I started digging. That afternoon, I opened Grace's laptop. It was fingerprint locked, but I knew the trick. She always registered her right thumb. It clicked open. I searched Daniel Williams. Most results were wedding blogs and stock photos from their engagement shoot, but buried in the search history, I found an older article. Local heiress Amelia Dwyer missing after breakup with tech CEO Daniel Blake. Dated 3 years ago. My throat tightened. Amelia Dwyer, Daniel's ex, a socialite. Gone without a trace weeks after ending their engagement. No body. No foul play confirmed. Just vanished. And now Grace was dead. I clicked on a cached blog post from a gossip forum. Rumor has it Amelia found something out about Daniel the night she ended it. Some say he snapped, others say she ran, but one thing's for sure, no one who gets close to him comes out the same. I called Faith. Did Grace ever mention Amelia Dwyer? Silence. Then, once, when she and Daniel had their first fight, she said something like, "I don't want to end up like her." That night I walked into the guest room Grace had stayed in before the wedding. Something had been slipped under the mattress. A small, sealed envelope with my name on it. I opened it. A letter in Grace's handwriting. Liv, if you're reading this, something's gone wrong. I found out the truth about Daniel. It's worse than I thought. I can't leave him, not yet, but I need you to find Amelia. She's alive. I saw her. Red dress. She was watching me. Tell no one, especially not him. And Liv, if anything happens to me, don't trust the obvious suspects. It's never that simple. My heart thudded so loud I could hear it. Amelia was alive. And Grace died trying to protect that secret. It took me 4 hours, 2 burner emails, and 1 fabricated medical inquiry to finally get a lead. A private mental wellness facility tucked into the hills outside the city, Harbor Heights Clinic. That's where the red-dressed woman was seen checking in and out under the name Anna M. But there was no patient named Anna on their public registry. So I did what Grace would have done. I faked a crisis and got myself admitted. The place smelled like pine and secrets. I told the intake nurse I had been experiencing hallucinations, flashbacks, and paranoia. I wasn't entirely lying. They gave me a robe. They gave me a room. What they didn't expect was me slipping out of that room at 2 a.m. with a flashlight and a phone. The halls were quiet, too quiet. I snuck past the security door and made my way to the east wing. That's where I found the restricted file room. Inside, I sifted through patient folders until one fell open. Patient name, M. Dwyer, Amelia. Alias, Anna M. Status, voluntary admission. Diagnosis, PTSD, dissociative episodes, persistent delusional disorder. There was a photo paperclip to the top. I gasped. It was her. Same eyes, same bone structure, same haunting beauty Grace described. I turned around and nearly screamed. She was standing there, right behind me. Amelia, wearing a silk robe, hair curled, barefoot, and smiling like we'd met before. "You're Grace's sister, aren't you?" she said. "How do you know that?" I whispered. She touched her temple. "I remember things when I want to. I remember the way Grace cried when I warned her." "You warned her?" She stepped closer. "I told her Daniel's darkness doesn't disappear. It just changes shape. He used me, and when I tried to expose him, they locked me in here." "Who's they?" She leaned in, eyes glassy. "His lawyer, his best man, the one who mixes things into drinks." Grace wasn't supposed to die. I was. My knees buckled. She caught me. "But now that you're here, Olivia, you've entered the game." I didn't sleep after meeting Amelia. Instead, I typed every word she'd said into the Notes app on my phone. I took photos of her file, the registry logs, even the surveillance map of the clinic's east wing. By dawn, I knew what I had to do: get Amelia out. But when I returned to her room at 6 a.m., it was empty. Bed stripped, but no robe, no shoes, no Amelia. I rushed to the front desk. "Where's Anna M?" The nurse raised an eyebrow. "She checked out an hour ago." "Checked out? With who?" "Didn't say." I called Faith in a panic. "Something's wrong. Amelia's gone." "Gone how?" "As in vanished again. She told me Grace's death wasn't the first attempt. And now I think they're tying up loose ends." I barely made it to my car before my phone lit up with an emergency alert. Breaking: fire erupts at Harbor Heights Mental Wellness Center. Authorities believe it started in the East Wing. No reported fatalities yet. Investigation ongoing. I dropped the phone. Everything was burning. The files, the proof, Amelia. I sped back to the city with one thought: who's cleaning this up? That night, I showed up at Daniel's office pretending to drop off a sympathy gift. He greeted me with a politician's smile. "Olivia, you shouldn't have. Just wanted to check in." "I'm fine." I looked around. Pristine walls. Too pristine. Then I noticed something odd. A locked drawer with a smudge, like it had just been wiped clean. "Do you ever think about her?" I asked. "All the time." "No, not Grace. Amelia." His face froze. "Only for a second. But I saw it." "She was unstable," he said finally. "Was she? Or just inconvenient?" I left before he could ask more. Outside, I dialed a number I never thought I'd use. Detective Simon Godwin, retired homicide, now private investigator. He owed my father a favor. I told him everything, and his only reply was, "You're not the first person to ask me about Daniel Williams, but you might be the last to survive it." Detective Simon met me at midnight. We parked down the hill from Daniel's private estate, his weekend home, the one Grace had never been allowed to visit alone. "You sure you want to see this?" Graves asked, flashlight in hand. "I buried my sister in a box. Now it's his turn." We slipped through a side gate and navigated past the koi pond and manicured bushes until we reached the guest house. Simon pulled up blueprints on his tablet. "The original layout ended here, but see this extension?" "No." He pointed to an added section beneath the foundation. A hidden basement, a vault. The entrance was behind a sliding bookcase. So cliché. It was genius. The stairs creaked as we descended, and then we saw it. A concrete room, soundproofed, wall-to-wall shelving. Dozens of labeled tapes, printed photographs, scattered journal entries. And in the center, a wedding dress. Not Grace's, Amelia's. Still stained, still scorched at the hem. I opened a journal marked July 3rd, the night it ended. Grace's name was all over it. So was Amelia's. So was a phrase that made my stomach curl. "Confessions are beautiful, especially when no one believes the person making them." Simon inserted one of the VHS tapes into the portable player we brought. The screen crackled. Then a recording started. Amelia, tied to a chair, sobbing. Daniel behind the camera. "Say it again," he said calmly. "I lied," she whimpered. "About what?" "About you. About what you did to that woman." Slap. The footage cut. I stepped back, mouth dry. "He filmed everything," I whispered. "For power," Simon said grimly. "He likes watching them fall apart." We gathered what we could and rushed out before the security alarms kicked in. Back at the car, I stared at the dress beside me. "Grace didn't just die," I whispered. "She was sacrificed. Monsters wear tuxedos. That's why no one sees them coming." Daniel's charity gala was packed. Senators, judges, tech moguls. The city's elite walked the red carpet with champagne flutes and fake smiles. And I walked in like I belonged. Black velvet dress, scarlet heels, a flash drive tucked into the lining of my clutch. And Detective Simon had done his part. He duplicated the footage, prepared statements, even looped in a discreet journalist. All I had to do was deliver the performance of my life. Daniel spotted me across the ballroom, doing his usual charming wave. "Olivia, you look stunning." "I came to raise a toast," I said sweetly. "To grace, to truth." He blinked. That smile faltered, just slightly. Then the lights dimmed for his keynote speech. Perfect. I stepped onto the small presentation stage behind him while his assistant fumbled with the AV system. "Excuse me," I said into the mic. Gasps. Heads turned. Cameras rolled. Before we let Daniel charm us with another speech about community and resilience, I thought it was time you all met the real man behind the tux. I plugged in the flash drive. The screen lit up. There she was, Amelia, bound, broken. "I lied," she whispered. "I lied about what he did to that woman." Slap. Static. Then Grace's journal entry flashed. "If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident." Chaos erupted. Women screamed. Phones flew into the air. Reporters surged toward the stage. Daniel lunged for me, but Simon appeared like a ghost from the shadows and shoved him back. "You did this," Daniel growled. "No," I whispered, inches from his face. "You did. I just let them see." An hour later, he was in handcuffs, charged with unlawful imprisonment, assault, obstruction, and possibly murder pending exhumation. Harbor Heights burned, but the truth survived. So did Amelia, now safe, now free. And Grace? She got justice. 1 year later, I stood at her grave holding a single white rose. "You weren't the perfect bride," I whispered, "but you were a perfect sister. And now they know who really killed you." The wind picked up. Somewhere in the distance, a church bell rang. And for the first time in a long time, I smiled.